This presentation intends to be a useful reference tool to people from the United States learning about Japan, its cultural components, customs and norms, language, and education. It focuses on providing information to a better business interaction and communication experience. This presentation intends to be a useful reference tool to people from the United States learning about Japan, its cultural components, customs and norms, language, and education. It focuses on providing information to a better business interaction and communication experience. Japanese foreign relations and policies have helped in providing peace and prosperity for the Japanese people by working with various nations.
According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan, the U.S.-Japan alliance, with the U.S.-Japan security arrangements at its core, as an indispensable foundation of Japan's security and of peace and stability in the Asia-Pacific region. A close cooperative relationship based on the alliance also plays an important role in effectively dealing with global challenges and must evolve to reflect the changing security environment. Japan and the United States relationship is global in scope, and together, over the last years, have grown in technological advancements, science and combating disease, economic development with byway trading, investing, and exporting. Japan has major accomplishments in promoting technology transfer and innovation. Japanese say goodbye to laptops someday. Now that you know about Japan's business relationship with you may be able to travel and communicate better with Japanese people. So now, do you wish to travel to Japan as an American and as part of learning business interactions? Traveling to Japan for business or pleasure is quite essential. Japan has great places, transportation system, museums, and professional events. Here's the tips about the railroad system in Japan. Tickets are available at train station machines or can be reserved at major train stations depending on where you travel to. To use train, first purchase a ticket at the vending machine or ticket window. Your ticket is punched by hand or inserted in a punching machine. Keep the ticket since it must be returned at your destination. Reference books are available at ticket offices for all kinds of transportation information.
Japan has many festivities and attractions throughout the year. Japan has many festivities and attractions throughout the year. Japanese schools up to junior high school are almost exclusively public. It has been accepted that a Japanese student's life is largely decided by their university entrance exam, that is, entrance to the right university, which will lead to a well-paying job. For 6 years, from ages 6 to 12, is the first stage of compulsory education for Japanese children. The peak of pressure for the student in the Japanese school system is from 15 to 18 years old because of the entrance exam. While this system has produced one of the most impressive levels of literacy and highest standards education in the world, there are those who now question the impact of such pressure on students from such a young age. As any other culture in the world, Japan has its own cultural diversities. Most of these diversities root from Japanese mentality of groupism. This requires recognition and respect from other cultures in order to reach potential success. Bowing is one of the most well-known Japanese customs. The duration and inclination degree of bowing are based on the respect level wanted to reach. Based on position and situation of the person being respected, a much slower and a higher degree of bowing shows even more respect. Sushi, the most well-known Japanese food consisting of cooked vinegar rice called shari combined with other ingredients, neta. Neta and forms of sushi presentation vary. Ingredient which all sushi have in common is shari. Most common neta is seafood. It is customary for individuals to remove shoes before entering home or hotel room from the threshold, place them in the shoe racks provided at entry. Furthermore, there are different indoor slippers to be used like the ones for bathroom and one for the rest of the place. Some Japanese bring their own slippers with them. The tatami mat, which is a type of mat used as a flooring material, traditional Japanese-style rooms made of rice straw. Slippers are never allowed. Even when eating in a fancy restaurant with tatami mat floors, remove your shoes when you enter the restaurant and change into slippers. More than 99% of the population speaks Japanese as their first language. It is a fusional language distinguished by a system of honorifics reflecting the hierarchical nature of Japanese society, with verb forms and particular vocabulary indicating the relative status of the speaker and the listener. More than 99% of the population speaks Japanese as their first language. It is a fusional language distinguished by a system of honorifics reflecting the hierarchical nature of Japanese society, with verb forms and particular vocabulary indicating the relative status of the speaker and the listener.
Japanese writings uses kanji, which is Chinese characters, and two sets of kana, syllables based on simplified Chinese characters called hiragana and katakana, as well as the Latin alphabet and Arabic numerals. The Japanese names for Japan are Nippon and Nihon. The Japanese name Nippon is used for most official purposes, including on Japanese yen, postage stamps, and for many international sporting events. Nihon is a more casual term and is used in contemporary speech. Japanese people refer to themselves as Nihonjin and to their language as Nihongo. Both Nippon and Nihon means sun origin and are often translated as land of the rising sun.
Although interpretation can often be used for business meetings, it is always a better idea to call his or her last name plus the word san, which means Mr. or Miss. San. San. As greeting, you can say "Hajimemashite," means nice to meet you. By saying this word "Hajimemashite" with either shaking hands or bowing to each other is applicable as non-verbal greetings. To show your gratitude or appreciation for your Japanese business partners, you can say "Arigatou gozaimasu," means thank you very much. For this word, arigato itself means thank you, yet it sounds much more respectful and professional if you put gozaimasu after arigato. ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。The meaning of the words may depend on situations, but in the case of business meeting, it basically means let's keep in touch and I appreciate for your cooperation plus best regards all combined. You may use the words at the end of meetings so that you can positively close up the conversation with your business partners. Now we would like to introduce one of the most classical business in Japan. Having conquered Japan, it is now taking on the world. Uniqlo's parent company, Fast Retailing, is Japan's biggest clothing company, with sales of 9 billion forecast this year. So last and most recently, we'd like to explain about tsunami in Japan because its effects are drastically significant and effects on Japanese business too.
This presentation intends to be a useful reference tool to people from the United States learning about Japan, its cultural components, customs and norms, language, and education. It focuses on providing information to a better business interaction and communication experience.